God, she's a cheater. And hang on a minute. Okay. Very quickly. Let's do this very, very quickly. This is Friday. Don't have a lot of time. Got stuff to do. We woke up this morning to one of the most incredibly delicious, beautiful rainstorms ever. And then, well, it was beautiful. After that, it was just gorgeous. A couple of things. Did a great piece yesterday with Dr. Drew. I hope you see that. Had a good time. Good man. I don't know if he knew what hit him. But then again, that's what we do. Ours is a very fast-paced, very brutal. The truth is brutal. Remember, truth is the only shocking thing in the world. The truth. Shock jocks are gone. They're dead. They're finished. Everybody. And the best part is that they're even trying to make Joe Rogan out to be shocked. But he's not. He's not at all. He's just the truth. So keep an eye on that one. Anyway, talk about that. It's Dr. Drew. Big story also is we're going to have to, you're going to have to understand something and get something through your head. And when I hear people suggest this, I don't know what to say. You want Hillary Clinton over Joe Biden. If you're going to have a Democrat, if you're going to have, not Hillary will be the best, but if it's between Joe Biden and Hillary, you want Hillary. You want somebody who knows what you want somebody who knows where they are. I want to know somebody who knows where they are. I want to know somebody who is familiar with reality and not somebody who is not. Now, I know you hate Hillary, and I know that's important. You got to hate her and everything, and yeah. But don't tell me that you would take Joe Biden, who is leading us down a path where he cannot be talked to. He won't speak. He can't speak. She can. She will have press conferences. You can maybe find something out. Maybe you can appeal to her. I don't know. But you can't somebody who is senescent. And that would be one of the greatest rematches ever, Hillary and Trump. I cannot wait for it. Next, Trump has got to get his act together again and make up your mind. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Do you run it? You want to run again? Well, you got to get the nomination. Are you serious about this? Or do you want to make money? Which is fine. Do you want to make money? Do you want to just stay? And do you want? This is what Barack Obama did. You know, they're making it out to be like, oh, I can't believe how craven. Oh, I can't believe how Trump wants to just make money. Well, what do you think Barack Obama and Michelle did? What do you think they did? I don't understand it's what everybody did. What Bill Clinton did. Hillary in particular. The Clinton Foundation, Clinton Health Access Initiative, Clinton Global Initiative. They were socking away money under every kind of pretextual fraud there was. What about them? What's the difference with them? Well, be fair. That's all I want to say. But Mr. President, you've got to make up your mind. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Period. Do you want to run for office? Or do you want to make money? You can't do both. You can't do both. Because now people are going to be looking at you and saying, well, let's go for some leadership. And I don't know whether he wants to do it. And I don't know whether he has any form of leadership in his group. I don't know. I'm not sure who's telling him what to do. I don't know if he recognizes the fact that he's got to be doing a hell of a lot more than just playing golf. When I see pictures of him playing golf, I cannot imagine anything but a bigger waste of time than playing golf. I just don't. This much? How much golf can you? I don't understand it. I've never understood it. What is so appealing about it? And not just for Trump, it's everybody. I think, believe it or not, I think there is a part of the belief system where rich people have to do it. You know, Rush Limbaugh, bless his heart, always wanted to act rich. I don't think he was naturally inclined, but when he became really very, very wealthy, he had to show you on the plane and with his cigars, and I'm playing golf, and I live in a... Okay, fine. Now, I don't know about you, but if I've got billions or whatever of dollars, I don't know how much money, the last thing I'm going to do is to walk around playing golf. I just don't, I don't get it. I think it's part of the thing that, well, that's what you got to do when you're rich. and you want to be a rich guy, kind of like OJ, wanted to play golf all the time with, I don't want to say it's a white thing, but it's like, it's what rich, people do when they play golf. And now tennis would be fun. I'd enjoy that, but golf? It's such a waste of time. It's so hokey, and nobody's really that good. But they want to do it because it's important. And you can always tell if ever you listen to I guess one of those Fox Business. I don't know if they still have it, but listen to all the golf ads they have. Special shoes to plant yourself and all this kind of nonsense. So anyway, so much for that. Next, they're going after BLM, which is good. When Bezos pulled them off of Amazon Smile, that's a good idea, because that means that the shadow government finally recognizes you've gone too far and you were a waste of time, and we're just not going to fund you anymore. And that is it. Oh my gosh. Pardon me. That is it for you. Next, and this is important. Ukraine. When is the war going to start? Wednesday? Tuesday? What? When's it going to start? You believe in this stuff? Now let me try this again. Let me see if I can explain this to you. Maybe see if I can work this through you. Okay? Maybe I can explain these things. NATO is based upon the promulgation of the myth that the Cold War is still with us. Do you understand that? It is a promulgation and a perpetuation of the myth that the Cold War is still with us. It is based upon Russophobic, red baiting, Kremlin bashing, whatever you want to call it. It is a product of the Warsaw Pact, and but that's over with. If for some reason, remember, to be in NATO, this is money. If you want the aegis of NATO protecting you, you got to spend money for the weapon system, and you got to do this. The Atlantic Council is their PR agency, and Fox News is their PR agency. Okay? They're following this. This is military-industrial complex. This is Raytheon. This is war profiteering. This has not changed. General Jack Keane, Institute for the Study of War. This is the Newlands, the Kagans. These are war hawks and hacks, okay? Does that make any sense to you? These are hacks. These are hacks. These are people that are there to perpetuate and promulgate war. And the only way they do it is to fill you with this idea that the bad guy is Russia. Because remember this. Take this to the bank. Take this as far as you possibly can. No Russia, no NATO. If you remove the Russian threat, if for some reason if people said Russia does not pose a threat to the Western world, or no more than any other country, China I think poses significantly more, but anyway, then there's no NATO. Consequently, the people who want to perpetuate NATO have to give you this nonsense. And there is nothing that they won't do to tell you Wednesday at 2 p.m. And when they make a mistake, nothing. This will just be forgotten. Speaking of forgotten, remember the SES system, selective employment, whatever this thing in 1978 with Jimmy Carter? Remember how that was the big conspiracist? Everybody was talking about that? All forgotten. All forgotten. Next, Kyle Rittenhouse. All forgotten. Remember him, the glory boy? Hey, Tucker's going to do a documentary with Kyle Rittenhouse. As soon as they were done with him, and didn't need him, and he was just a spent little, he's gone. Forgotten. Yesterday's news. See you later. Have a nice day. He's nowhere to be found. Nobody cares about him. Nobody will help him. He's not going to get the money that Sandman got, because a little bit different when you have CNN basically calling you a white supremacist versus a guy who's on trial for murder. It's a little different. And if you can't see that, I can't help you with that one. You see how they use people? These are phonies. Next, ask yourself, when was the last time you learned anything on any mainstream media platform where you thought to yourself, my God, I didn't know that. Oh my God, I didn't. Really? Nothing. Next. No matter the platform, No matter the network, no matter what it is, whether it's CNN or MSDNC or Fox, it doesn't really matter. Remember, number one, these are all miserable children, jealous, and they all hate each other. They're also looking to sandbag each other. Don't be surprised if you find out that who brought Zucker down and Cuomo were people at CNN who were jealous, who didn't realize, I've got a pretty good deal going here. I don't want to do anything to affect it. No, what they did was they're so jealous. Finally, if you are working for any major news town, or any place for that, but news in particular, and you are fooling around, and you are making deals with female, let's say you're usually a male, female workers and underlings, and interesting pun, if you are doing that, you are going to be killed. You are going to be crushed, most probably, most assuredly, by the people who are already there. And remember one thing, everybody knows what you're doing. Everybody. Let me say this again. Let me be very clear. If you're at a news station in particular, and they want, because they hate you, you can't be at any network. And Fox in particular, because there's only one of you, let's face it, the others don't count. OAN, the Max, whatever, as good as they are, they don't really matter. I'm not saying they're not good, but in the scheme of things, that's it. So the people to pick off are obviously Fox, because of the fact that they're number one in ratings. So I'm telling you, if you're doing something stupid, they know this. You better be careful. But sometimes you'll find out that when people are in positions of power, they think that, well, I can get away with everything. Okay? And that's not going to happen. All right, enough of that. Finally, the big truth here, the big news. Watch how they play Justin Trudeau as being the rollout fascist. He is going to be the shadow government's exemplar for exactly what you can and can't do. You understand that? Do you got that? Watch what they do. They're going to push him out. He's going to do everything they tell him to do, and then they're going to pull a Rittenhouse on him. And I lied. Here's the finally. If you want to watch the Dr. Drew thing, he was a very nice man. I really enjoyed it. The only thing that not even a disagreement, was simply this. And I want you to listen. This hypersensitivity to the N-word, nobody buys this anymore. We were talking about Joe Rogan, and I don't think if Drew understood, or if maybe I didn't make it clear, Joe Rogan's first apologia, his first apology, was not about the N-word. It was about the fact that he had two doctors on who were discussing or talking, or who disagreed with the CDC about COVID therapeutics. The N-word, nobody uses this today but black rappers and stupid white kids who refer to each other. They want to be black, I guess, or rappers. Remember when all of a sudden there were people in Muncie, Indiana, or Madison, Wisconsin, white kids named Rusty, all of a sudden were talking about Compton and referring to each other as my N. You don't know, because for some reason they thought. Let me say this, and let me be very, very clear, because Drew went off into this thing about, we don't understand this sting. It's like, oh, shut up with that. Nobody's using the N-word except black rappers and stupid white kids. That's it. Let me say this again. The people who are using the N-word are black people. Have I made myself clear on that one? It's the only people using this. Now, if somebody used it 12 years ago or 5 years ago, fine. You take all of the time that it's been mentioned and uttered, please, and just put them in a pile. Say, oh, there's one, and you will not get anywhere near what is going on. Snoop Dogg and other people love the N-word. Let's stop with this facade, this fraudulent, imaginary mythical, magical idea that somehow that white people are using it, because they're not. And stop pretending that it kills you as a white person because you feel the pain. You don't understand the pain. These people, oh, shut up. We are so over this. It's a non-issue. The same as white supremacy, white nationalism, white nativism. It's run its course. Nobody believes this anymore. Nobody is paying attention to this anymore. Am I making myself clear? Stop pretending this is an issue. And if you want to go back and listen to what Joe Rogan said, if that's your interest, he wasn't using it in any other way that was. I heard Louis C.K. recently. It doesn't matter. And finally, I really lied. The most important thing I told him yesterday, and I think you agree with me, and I think his wife agreed with it, Drew's wife, was if you don't like something, don't listen to it. So what? Louis C.K. said the N-word. So what? I'm 63 years old. I've seen rotting corpses. I've been involved in both prosecuting, defending, and seeing things that I kind of wish I didn't need to see it. So I've got a very high tolerance as for what is horrible. Mrs. L deals with subjects that are so horrid, so beyond, you want to talk about terrible? I'll tell you terrible. I'll tell you stuff that we've seen before. I'll tell you one story that'll make you'll beg me to stop. And I saw this. Well, I didn't really say, it wasn't not when it happened, but it was one case involving a child. I'll never forget this. Reading the ME's report in court. It was the vilest, darkest, sickest thing. So I know sick. I've seen it. I've seen people like this. All right? And Louis C.K. and Joe Rogan can say the N-word all day long, and it doesn't even faze me. Why? I'm an adult. I understand perspective. It's a make-believe, pretend world. And you are being conned by racial arsonists. BLM, Antifa, these poverty Ponzi schemes, you're being played like a chump. We all are. Because nobody dares to say anything. Just like these phony balonies that we know, with their Black Lives Matter signs in front of their front yard. And the reason is, this was when all the riots were happening. They hoped that somehow this was like putting blood on the portal or something when the locusts, I mean, come on, it was biblical. These people who say Black Lives Matter, they don't give a shit about Black Lives Matter. Pardon my French. It's just a name brand for them. They live in their gated communities. They drive their Range Rovers. They got their nannies. And the last thing they want to do is embrace negritude or involve themselves with the black perspective, whatever. No. To them, it's just a little. It's like climate change. They just say it. I said climate change 5 days today, and I got my Black Lives Matter sign, so leave me alone. It's a bunch of people who don't mean anything. Really? Well, you wouldn't mind if I put a bunch of low-income housing with a bunch of you Black Lives Matter. Well, I got Black Lives that matter. These are low-income housing, section, whatever you want to call it, right there in your, and they're doing it in Greenwich, Connecticut. They're doing it in a lot of places. How do you like that? You don't mind that, do you, right? I mean, this is their lives matter. I'm going to put nothing, since you were so worried about the N-word and blackness and which is a wonderful thing. I'm going to put right in your neighborhood. Let's see what you say. And I don't want to hear any nonsense about, hold it. No. Well, pounding a little sign in your lawn is one thing, because you're a phony. This is ridiculous. Nobody knows. And the best part about BLM, they're not even getting the money. But $60 million, $80 million, it's not even getting to anybody. It's a con. You're being conned by this. And we've had it. And people like Drew and others, they have to be very, very careful because, it's a Hollywood leftist world. And they're kind of like, they're like drive-by activists. They don't really want to get anything. They just want to, I don't know, they just want to sort of maybe, I don't know what the word is. They just kind of drive by and they just want to say, okay, there's my race. Yeah, okay, yeah. I don't want to do anything. I just want to say that this matters. I want to say that climate change matters. I want to say like Greta Van, like Thunberg, and come on, bunch of phony balonies. You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about, and that's the bottom line. So that's it. And what makes us so great, and what makes us so dangerous is that's exactly the kind of talk that people want to hear, because that's exactly what people think. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know why it's so difficult. You know, I got to tell you something. I was talking to Drew, Dr. Drew to you, perhaps. I call him Drew. I said, you know, when I was a prosecutor, and then I was a defense lawyer, I did a lot of court-appointed cases. I had more, almost exclusively black clients. I don't know why, just did. At first, because a lot of court-appointed when there were conflicts with the public defender's office. And I remember one time going to the county jail and saying, where's the white jail? What is this? It's all black people. And they were like clapping. I said, what is this? You mean to tell me that I'm looking around, is there anybody here? Now, there's something wrong. Not necessarily with the system, but wrong with something. Let's start with that. Why are there so many people being arrested? Why are the people being arrested who can't bond out of jail? What? That's it. Maybe a good reason for it. Maybe a good reason. I don't know. You know why most of the members of organized crime and the mafia were Sicilian? You know why? Because most were Sicilian. Doesn't mean that Sicilians were more crime prone. No. It meant if you're in the mafia, you're a Sicilian. Ta-da! Most people in the Klan were white. Doesn't mean that most white people are racist. No. But in the Klan, most of them are white. You see the difference? Correlation cause? You want to talk about this? Of course not. Because most white people want to talk about something for 5 seconds and then move on. Because the last thing in the world they want to know is get to know anybody. Hey, would you mind if your daughter, little Mitzi there, or Missy or Morgan, who went to Oberlin or whatever, do you mind if she marries somebody who's maybe black or Jewish or Muslim or something? Would you mind that? How would your country club friends think of that? Would you like that? Think the Newport crowd would dig that? Maybe they would. I don't know. Because they're big talk when it comes to, wait a minute. I never said I wanted to, get to know these folks. I just want to pretend like I care. Now we're talking. That's America. We pretend we give a damn about most of this stuff. Most people don't care anything about this. You think most of these idiots care about the Civil War? Who can tell you even who won the Civil War? You think they know Nathan Bedford Forrest from Nathan's Hot Dogs? Of course not. But it's a thing that they do. It's okay. Do you think that all of a sudden, you see where Trump yesterday, Biden appointed some, I think, queer, kink, transgender to nuclear waste? What? Come on. They've got this enfeebled dork walking around. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. You think to tell me, look at me. Look at Joe Biden. You know anything about Joe Biden? You think Biden is embracing the transgender community? Do you really think that? Do you really think that? You know anything about him? This old Mr. Stud Muffin here? How did he and Jill hook up? Remember that story? You didn't know that, did you? Look into it. You think he's been waiting to embrace transgender athletes? Come on. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. Okay? So enough with these games. That's it. So anyway, LionelMedia.com, Lynn'sWarriors.org. By the way, go to Lynn'sWarriors.org and find out, especially if you've got a little kid or a grandchild and you want to find out what can I do to make their phone safe. What can I do to control what they're watching? Lynn'sWarriors.org. Okay? Terrific. Other than that, have a great